Hello to all my loyal loyalists out there. My name is EJ and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, hello, welcome to the channel. I've been on a break because of Hurricane Milton, but I am back and I'm so excited to talk about episode 5 and episode 6 of Grotesquerie. You know, I came back from a hurricane, not having power, not having internet, and I really expected some easy breezy episodes to get into, but episode 5 is one of the most surreal, disorienting, messed with my mind kind of episode, and then episode 6 wasn't so great. I don't know. Grotesquerie is still in a highly positive world for me. I definitely do enjoy this ride, but these two episodes were pure chaos. There is so much that happened, so much that I am still trying to process. Poor Megan, what happened with her? Also, the scenes with Father Charlie and Lois. What is going on there? There's just a lot that happened in these two episodes, but I'm so happy to be back. So for all my people out there, thank you so much for patiently waiting for me to finally get this video, even though in 3 days it's going to be another video for Grotesquerie, and we have American Horror Stories this week. But overall, look, these episodes were fun, weird, surreal. Definitely episode 5. If you remember the movie Mother, that's what this movie, or this episode reminded me of, was that movie. It's just an anxiety attack. Everyone kept moving, the camera never stood still, and you just feel overwhelmed and anxious. And I love that a TV show, I love that a project can get that feeling out of me, because again, we passively watch so much entertainment. I mean, I just binged all of Heartstopper while I had no power, and I was just easy breezy, beautiful cover girl there. This movie though, this show took me for a ride and made me feel something. Do I love it? Do I hate it? I don't know yet, but overall, it made me feel confused, confuzzled, and I had a good time. My goodness, episode 5 begins and we are right at the desert. Episode 5 to me was a really quick, easy one to get in and out of, because for the first half of it, it was this surreal hotel adventure. This hotel was giving me major purgatory vibes. We all have theories about what's happening to Lois. Is she in a coma? Is she dead? What is going on? This one gave me the most purgatory vibes, because it just seemed like this pure chaos, and the person who ran the hotel, who was constantly getting beat by some guy, was often this is between heaven. Sometimes it feels like hell, and then sometimes it's great. It was a very interesting conversation. This whole scene of watching Lois and Megan deal with this hotel, deal with the people who are living there, no one's living while they're living here, but it was strange, it was weird, it was disorienting, it was very much moving. I mean, Lois is always just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. They're trying to look for the bloody girl that they picked up. She's gone. Then she ends up trying to get shot at one point. Then you also have Megan, who's just trying to be the best person that she can be. She's worried about the pool with poison in it. She's worried about digging ditches for the fire. She's worried about domestic violence. And I'm a girl. Who cares about the car accident? What are you doing to survive? But that's just Megan's spirit. So much so that Megan gets herself caught in the line of fire with a shootout, and she gets shot. My goodness, leading up to this, I was I knew something big was going to happen. The tension was too high. We had to cut the tension. We had to build up towards something. But Megan getting shot, I thought the episode was over. I thought the episode was over and I was furious, but then the second half of the episode puts us back into normal Grotesquerie, where we're just dealing with the fallout of what happened, and we're dealing with Lois seeing that her friend Megan was shot, and then Father Charlie comes and is reading Lois to filth, and she's reading him back, and I'm like, ooh, the back and forth between these two is worth the price of admission alone. These two, I think, are really the two figureheads of the show. Father Charlie with, Nicholas Alexander Chavez, and he kept his clothes on this episode, points for that. And then we have, Niecy Nash-Betts with Lois, and these two actors are just commanding the screen, and I thought she was going to chew this boy up, because I thought he got chewed up on Monsters, playing Lyle and all that, but wow, he's in his element with a proper Ryan Murphy horror show, not one of the weird Monsters Netflix ones, but a proper horror Ryan Murphy stuff. I love the Father Charlie character. I think he is interesting, and he gives me a lot to sink my teeth into. So does Lois, when she's basically like, okay, what is going on? I need the information. Who was shooting at us? She just seems, again, so distracted as she normally is, and this leads her to having to find another case, which leads us into the weirdness that is episode 6. Episode 5 does wrap up with another murder. Wow, we're actually getting kind of to the point of the show, back to our very Seven-like traps. This one is all about women who were pregnant and had the babies taken out of them, and then they're just kind of left there. Like, again, sins, abort, there's just so much going on here conversationally, but this leads Lois down a path. She ends up running into an old woman who gave birth, which seems impossible, to a baby, and that is where this episode ends. And this whole thing felt like a fever dream. By the time it ended, I was just like, did I want my internet back? Was this worth waiting a couple of days for? It wasn't, but at least, again, it had my mind racing. Episode 5 was all about surrealism, the weirdness of the situation, but episode 6 was about dealing with ramifications of our actions. We have the woman from the end of the last episode, the older woman, saying, "Oh, baby, that is my baby. I want my baby. Give me my baby." Like Magda, what was her name? Maisie, Maisel, Mrs. Maisel, I don't know. But she has the baby. She does not have the baby because she's a little too old for all that. What is going on with her? It is a very strange story, but we do end up finding more about these babies and the weird milking process that we find later in the episode. Overall, this episode was about trying to figure out who is kind of running this baby thing. And we meet a woman named Glorious. I loved me Miss Glorious. Her and Niecy Nash's scenes together were good. They were bitching out, and I love to see just two amazing actresses just read each other to filth, just have good moments together. I didn't really get a lot from this, and I'm sure if I dive deep into it, the Glorious character is going to be something. She gave me very much, if speaking of the heaven and the hell of all of this, she seems like someone you would make a deal with to get with the devil. Like, she's very middleman, very mischievous. I like the Glorious stuff, but the real highlight of this episode was Red and Lois talking to each other. Red decides to just show up at Lois's house, which I'm like, sis, she will kill you. Like, why are you here? And I'm like, okay, Red, maybe you're going to try to no, you're confessing your affair. Oh my goodness, which we all kind of knew Red and Lois's husband were having an affair. I get Courtney B. Vance. Look, anytime I can see this man act and be amazing and be handsome and be cool, I will take it. And he's here. We see a little bit of his backstory with Red, and you kind of think maybe getting out of this, Lois was going to be a little like, oh, and she is at first, and then she's like, all right, get out of my house. And I'm like, for real, Red, what are you doing? You're forever putting yourself into this woman's line of fire, which maybe that's what she wants. As soon as Lois, fronts up on Red, she can be like, and that's my man now. That is my man in a coma. Like, y'all really fighting over Courtney B. Vance asleep? Courtney B. Vance awake is fine by me. Courtney B. Vance asleep? Not for me. And again, the episode really just ends kind of with this major cliffhanger. I wish I had more to talk about this, but these episodes were 30 minutes long, and I'm still trying to process living in the situation I just lived through. But wow, this ending where we have this moment where it almost felt like the finale kind of thing, where we're seeing all these characters. We do get a little Chavez Kelce. He's hanging out with Merritt, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on over there? We're getting the characters, but really, we had this moment where a killer or someone pops up behind Lois with a knife, and we see it at her throat, and then he turns around and she shoots somebody. Who does she shoot? That is a mystery for the next episodes. And I'm like, we could have answered questions in this. What are we doing? I need more. These episodes were somehow equally jam-packed, but I felt like the story didn't progress enough for me. I needed a little bit more from the story. A lot of weird stuff happened. A lot of surrealist things were going down, and I was into it. But then I'm like, what are we doing? What is the point of this? All right, everyone, that is it for my breakdown of Grotesquerie episode 5 and 6. I wish I had more to say about this, but again, dealing with what I dealt with and then coming into these two weird-ass episodes, I need some time to process. Hopefully episodes 7 and 8 are a bit better, and then we have, I think, the end of the show. We'll get to the end when we get to the end, but I hope the next two episodes are a bit better, progresses the story a little bit more. I want to see who Lois shot. I want to know what happens with Red, and what's up with Megan? Is she going to get out of the hospital? Did my girl need to go film something? Micaela, were you busy? Because I need you on the show. You are the reason I am watching. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you again for being patient while I figured out my internet and power situation. Florida is a hot mess right now, so if you know any possibilities to donate to anybody, I may possibly put a link down in the description of a maybe local charity. Definitely don't do the Red Cross, because we need money like directly to Florida right now, because we are going through it, specifically my area in Tampa. My goodness. But thank you guys so much for being patient, and I'm so happy to be talking about Grotesquerie. So what are your thoughts on this episode? What are your thoughts on my review? Share them down below. Subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and let's talk about Grotesquerie right down below.